What's up, guys? It's Bloop again for Dot Esports. I'm joined today by Fnatic mid laner Nisqy. Nisqy, first of all, this one, as we've been talking before, this one was a bit dirty game. I think we can say it like that. How do you leave the game personally? Because especially the ending was pretty rare with the natural stall from Selfmade, you split pushing and trying to end the game. Tell me a little bit your thoughts on this last game.
I mean, last game was kind of, we had to play more smart, just because they had like a ball comp with Seraphine, Caitlyn, and Hecarim. So I feel like we had to kind of play it clean, because if you made a mistake, they could actually come back really easily. And I felt like towards the end, we kind of got lucky, to be honest, that we got Nash, because I feel like if we didn't steal it and they got it, then they could actually maybe even win the game at that point, because they would kind of get some items, beat 3 items on Caitlyn, and then make me stop like split pushing because they had Nash. So I think we got a bit lucky towards the ending, but I feel like the game in general was not too bad, at least for me. A bit chaotic, but I just did my job and it worked. So.
So the rematch against G2 is right next to this game. The first one, you got that victory, and there was a bit of discussion and everything. So, how do you approach this second game against G2? Of course, for the organization is very important. But how do you personally like live or approach this match?
I mean, for me, it's still the same. I feel like it's still like a regular season game. I don't really put too much effort into it. Like, I just play it as if it's any other team. It's a bit different, of course, because I'm playing against the best mid in Europe currently. So it's always a bit more difficult, and like more pressure just in general by the way he plays. So we'll just have to see if I can redo the thing I did in the match before and just kind of control him and just see how I match up against him again. And also, I felt like last time it was kind of like they had like issues, internet issues, all that. So I want to see how we match up against them, where we're actually both on like good conditions and top form. So yeah, I just want to see how it plays out, if they improved a lot, because we didn't necessarily scrim them for a while. So I just want to see how we match up against them.
Now moving in a more general view of the split so far, the Fnatic performance is a bit shaky, like with a lot of ups and downs during the weeks. Like for example, one week Fnatic could be like, okay, this is now currently the best team in the LEC, and next one is like, okay, this is a mere mid-tier team in the standings. Tell me a bit about this. Why is this irregularity? Of course, the roster is different. You guys are new abroad. You and of course Upset. So yeah, tell me why is this irregularity kinda?
To be honest, I'm not so sure. I feel like last week we just played really bad. We had some individual mistakes, and just as a team, I felt like we weren't necessarily playing great. It even showed like in practice, so we kind of knew it wouldn't be too easy, but I didn't expect us to go this bad, to be honest. But yeah, for now, I think we're still kind of inconsistent. We're still trying to get there, but yeah, I feel like we're not 100% at where we want to be, at least from my side, and I feel like we still have to learn from our mistakes and all that. I feel like we're still in the process rather than at the end, at least for now. And yeah, I think it's just normal that sometimes we lose against worse teams and we beat better teams just because we're not necessarily consistent for now. Also, like our drafts, like they are very different from day to day as well. So it's not that easy to play usually.
Continuing in this like team view of the split so far, you mentioned that inconsistency that you guys, I guess, are working on. But what needs Fnatic to improve looking into the end of the split and of course the playoffs, which is like the important thing and the big thing?
To be honest, it's a lot of stuff. Like I think, for example, I'm still working on my synergy with Selfmade. My ball lane still getting on the same page. I'm still trying to figure out how to include myself in mid game. Usually when we're behind, it feels a bit hard, all that kind of stuff, like how to take fights. Like it's just there's a lot of situations that have to happen for us to learn from it. And then also like champion pool, there's a lot of champions that we still have to learn to play with, for example. And I feel like that's something we need to focus on, and that's something we're trying a lot. And at least for now, I feel like it's less chaotic than before. I feel like everyone knows when the game starts to become chaotic, and everyone is kind of aware compared to before, where no one was necessarily aware that the game was going to be like 20 kills right in 10 minutes. But I feel like now we know it immediately because we're all on the same page at least. So yeah, for me, I feel like it's just still getting used to my teammates, especially mid game, I'd say. And yeah, the fights we're taking, they are sometimes bad, and we don't know. Like sometimes they're bad, and we don't necessarily know it. So we kind of follow through the plan, and then someone dies, and then we try to salvage it, and then that guy dies. So I think it's kind of just playing it more smart in general, and yeah, I'm not necessarily sure how to answer the question of like what do we have to improve on, because I feel like it's a lot that we have to improve on, but it's not necessarily like obvious, so
Yeah, you mentioned about the like being on the same page, and I know that this is something that you mentioned before, like on the LEC post game interviews or whatever. That this it's something that you guys are working on, obviously, because like you have to build the synergies again. Of course, you just joined the team with Selfmade, so I want to focus a bit more in you, how it's being the like adapting to the team's environment and how the things are going out there on the Fnatic headquarters.
To be honest, it's been pretty good. I feel like I've been it was kind of easy for me to adapt to this team and kind of get used to them, I guess, because Hilly and Bupo have a way of playing the game which is kind of what I like looking for openings, punishing enemy mistakes, all that. And I feel like they've been helping me on that as well. So yeah, it's been kind of a good journey for me. Also, I think me and Selfmade have been working harder to get our synergy going. Like we do more stuff together in game, as you could see today, for example, punching the Hecarim, all that stuff. So yeah, for me it's been nice, and I've been very welcomed. So
I also want to talk about like your champion pool during this split so far, because a lot of people when you're singing for Fnatic was firstly like rumored and then announced, was talking about like, okay, this guy is really good to like enable youngers. That it's something that, for example, I think Iyoto like highlighted on Twitter. So yeah, you are playing that role. We saw you on Seraphine, for example, on a more supportive role, but you were also very good at, for example, picks like Irelia, even that you guys lost that game against Bad Lion. Your individual performance was very, very good. So what do you think about this like opinion or general opinion about Nisqy is like a more supportive player?
I mean, I think that could be right, just in the last, because people kind of just remember last year. They don't look like before that, or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, But I feel like I've been in so many metas where I had to play melees, and then I had to play the mages, and I had to play supportive champs. I had to play, like a lot of different champions, And I feel like right now, at least, I'm somewhere where I kind of know when a champion is good. And I feel like, for example, tomorrow against G2, if I don't know, like ranked in mid is good or something, then I will play it, right? And if I think that Seraphine mid will be good, then I will play it. And I feel like that's something that I kind of improved on, especially this year, because I know when I should be playing supportive mid, but I also know when I should be playing carry mid. And I feel like people kind of have that vision of me just because with C9 I was usually playing supportive mid, but they don't necessarily see like the biggest picture, right? Where, for example, my jungler Blabber was really aggressive in the way he was playing, and I felt more comfortable playing this way. But I feel like right now with Selfmade, it's kind of easier. I can kind of play whatever I want, and he adapts as well. But yeah, I think it's kind of a wrong impression, I'd say, because I feel like I've played only like 2 Seraphim games, if I'm not wrong. And, like people are still like, oh, like this Seraphim player, you know, like he's so good at supporting his team. But I also played like Azir and like Syndra and all that stuff, you know, just meta picks. Yeah, I think it's just a wrong impression. Even though I kind of gave it as well by saying that I was like a Doinby fanboy before, which is something that I was, you know. But I feel like I have evolved, and I can also carry games if I have to. I just play whatever wins for my team, you know. If it's support mids, then I will play them. If it's melee mids, I can also play them. So.
Something that I really wanted to talk with you, and also I talk with other players, like for example Broken Blade. It's about the transition from an A to you, because obviously it's like a very different style from last year on Cloud9 to this year of Fnatic. You mentioned like the difference on the jungler, the difference on, for example, Haile-san is like a very aggressive player. Whip is like kind of the same. So tell me a bit about the difference in the team, and then I'm going to ask you about like on a general view on the region, because I think that's also interesting to know.
When I say for me, the huge difference is that in this team, my top and support look for way more plays than what I used to like see before. You know, in my past years, I feel like any opening that they can get, you know, they will just go and punish the enemies. And I feel like that's something that I had to adapt myself to, because before I would just like play my game, play with my jungler, you know, like ball lane does their thing and top lane does his thing. But I feel like right now it's more about a team where Hidesang like takes, when he makes a play, he just thinks as like a 10-man play, right? He's like, okay, this can TP, this can do this, and he thinks of the future, all that. I feel like the way he thinks about it is really smart, and that's something that I'm still learning from him. Because, for example, if he makes a bot play, then he tells me to like go farm enemy camps, you know, and then he tells me, look, this is why it's good, blah blah. I feel like in my past teams it was mostly individual skill, and just me mostly kind of supporting my jungler because he was just fighting 24/7, right? And yeah, I feel like it just changed a lot. Also, I think I'm allowed to play way more champions, at least in Fnatic compared to when I was in C9, because my teammates trust me a lot, and they also help me whenever I need help with some champions. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I feel like you can already see like my champion pool, for example, is way different than what it used to be before, I think, unless I'm wrong. But I will bring way more champions in the next weeks for sure, just because my team trusts me, my coach lets me play whatever I want. So I appreciate that.
So yeah, as I mentioned before, you mentioned the changes between your two last teams. And what do you think are the main difference between NA and EU? Because Broken Blade, for example, mentioned something. It was not the import. We are not talking about that. We want to keep this interview friendly for everyone. He mentioned about solo queue, because he really think that the solo queue was much better here, and help like him improving as a player outside of the scrim and official matches and that kind of stuff. Do you agree? Or do you also think that there is something else, or that's like the main thing?
For me, I feel like just in general, EU teams are more willing to take risks and play more aggressive in general compared to NA teams. It could be from solo queue, it could be just because we're just more aggressive in general, you know. I'm not necessarily sure, but I feel like, for example, when you int in Europe, it doesn't really matter too much. Like if I make a mistake, then it's like whatever, right, on stage. And I feel like in NA, people are way more scared to make mistakes, right? I feel like if I go for a 50-50, I will do it right now, like without doubt, right? But when I was in NA, I was like, okay, like everyone's playing it safe, you know. Maybe I should just play it safe and just play the game and farm, you know. And also, I feel like since the solo queue is better in Europe, for example, if I play against someone that just plays a random pick mid and he smashes me just because he's good at it, then I can get ideas from it as well. And I feel like in NA it was lacking, where I was mostly playing against one-trick ponies, like Katarina, Talon, all that stuff. but there was not like a lot of, what can I say? Like in EU, for example, you have like national players, right, where they play a lot of random stuff mid, which kind of helps in a way. For example, even the Seraphine thing I saw, I think it was in French League, and I was like, it looks good, and I was like, I will try it, all that stuff. So yeah, I just get way more ideas by playing EU solo queue than NA solo queue, and also watching regional leagues kind of helps a bit as well. With some weird picks.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's curious that you are like a aerial fan. Are you only following the LPL or are you following some other leagues?
I mean, depends. I just watch usually the good teams or like the good individuals that are playing these leagues. But the only games that I watch in LFL, like in French league, is mostly the one from Kametacorp because it's my friend's org, and I just support them. So that's also one of the good teams in there. So it kind of makes it easier.
So this is everything. Thank you very much, Nisqy, for being here, and of course, congratulations for the win, and good luck tomorrow. Let's hope for that 2-0 over G2 on the regular season, and remember that you have much more interviews on our YouTube channel. Bye bye.